People think the worst kind of betrayal comes from enemies. But they are wrong. The deepest cuts come from the hands we hold the closest. My name is Julia Monroe. For 14 years, I believed my husband loved me. I believed we built our life together on trust. Until the night I found a hidden safe in his office. Inside were forged documents with my name, a divorce petition, and proof that he had drained every account we shared. He planned to erase my identity and walk away with everything. He thought I would break. He had no idea who I would become after that night. This is how I fought back. People always say that trust is the foundation of a marriage. But trust is also the sharpest weapon someone can use against you when they decide to betray you. I learned that on a quiet Tuesday night, in the house I once believed was the safest place in my world. My name is Julia Monroe, and for 14 years, I believed my husband, Daniel, was the one person who would never hurt me. We built everything together. We built a marriage, a company, dreams, and a future most people envied. Everyone said we were the perfect couple. They saw the smiles, the vacations, the charity events, the magazine features. Nobody saw the cracks forming beneath the surface. Maybe I didn't see them either. Or maybe I refused to. That night, Daniel said he had work to finish and went into his home office. He kissed my forehead gently, the way he always did, and smiled as if nothing was wrong. I made tea and sat in the living room, flipping through old sketchbooks while listening to the faint sound of his voice from the other side of the house. At first, I thought he was on a normal business call. But something about his tone made me pause. It was sharper, quieter, heavier. I stood slowly and walked closer. I stopped outside his office door, hand hovering near the wooden frame, listening through the crack where light spilled onto the hallway carpet. His voice, low and stern, cut through the silence. Everything is ready. Once she signs the final transfer, we move the funds. She won't suspect anything. A chill slid down my spine. My heartbeat hammered in my ears. I leaned closer. No mistakes this time, he continued. I don't want her to have anything to fight with. Harper, listen to me. By the time she realizes what happened, her name won't exist on anything. Harper? A woman? My stomach twisted. He laughed softly, a sound I didn't recognize. Cold. Calculated. Trust me. She will never see it coming. I stepped back slowly, my hands trembling so violently I almost dropped my mug. I made it to the kitchen before my knees buckled beneath me. I gripped the counter, forcing myself to breathe. No. No, I must have heard wrong. Not Daniel. Not my husband. Not the man who celebrated every birthday holding my hand, who cried when we lost our first pregnancy, who promised me forever. But the voice in my head whispered. What if forever was only real to you? I spent the next hour sitting silently in the dark, replaying every small moment I had ignored. The sudden business trips. The locked phone. The new passwords on accounts I once had access to. The way he avoided my eyes lately when he said he loved me. At nearly 1 a.m, Daniel went upstairs to shower. The house fell silent again, except for the distant hum of running water. I sat frozen, my mind racing. Something in my chest felt like glass cracking, piece by piece. I knew what I had to do. I walked toward his office, every step feeling heavier than the last. My hand shook as I turned the doorknob. It opened easily. Too easily. The room was spotless. Nothing out of place. Nothing suspicious. Just framed certificates, organized shelves, his laptop, and a polished desk that looked almost staged. But then I noticed it. A small square indentation in the floor, barely visible beneath the edge of the rug. I knelt slowly, pulling the rug back. Beneath it was a steel panel embedded in the wood. My pulse pounded as I pressed my fingers along the edges. It clicked softly and opened. A hidden safe. My hands trembled uncontrollably as I typed in the first combination that came to mind, our anniversary date. It failed. I tried the date we moved into the house. Failed again. My breath hitched. Then I tried something colder, something that hit me like a punch. His birthday. The safe unlocked. Inside were folders neatly stacked, a flash drive, several passports, and a slim black envelope with my name typed in bold capital letters. I pulled it out with shaking hands and opened it. Papers spilled across the desk. The first one stopped my breath completely. A divorce petition. Filed 3 months ago. Reason, emotional instability and unfit behavior. My signature was on it. Perfectly forged. Below it, financial statements. Every account I thought we shared was nearly empty. Transfers made to offshore accounts. Again, with my forged approval. I covered my mouth to stop the sound that threatened to escape. Daniel had been destroying my life piece by piece for months. And I never saw it. The last page in the file made the room spin. Ownership transfer of Monroe and Hale Architecture, transferring full control to Harper Lane. Harper. The woman he was speaking to. My hands balled into fists, my vision blurring with fear, rage, betrayal. A soft creak sounded behind me. Footsteps. The shower had stopped. I shoved everything back into the safe, closed it, slid the rug back, and rushed to the couch in the living room. I grabbed my book and pretended to read just as Daniel stepped into the hallway. Still awake, he asked gently, his voice warm and familiar again. I looked up slowly, forcing a smile so hard my jaw trembled. Couldn't sleep. He kissed my forehead again. Try to rest. Tomorrow will be a big day. Yes, I thought. Bigger than you think. I watched him walk upstairs, calm and confident, unaware that his perfect plan had just cracked open. The moment he disappeared around the corner, I whispered into the dark. You plan to destroy me quietly. But I am not quiet anymore. And I am not done. I turned off the lights and sat in silence, feeling strength rise through the pain. This was no longer a marriage. This was war. Morning sunlight poured through the windows like nothing had changed, but inside me, something enormous had broken open. I watched Daniel make breakfast as if he were the loving husband he had always pretended to be. He hummed quietly, flipping pancakes, smiling at me across the kitchen island. Busy day ahead, he said cheerfully. I might come home late. Another meeting popped up. I nodded, keeping my expression calm, my voice steady. No problem. I'll work on some design plans today at the studio. He kissed the top of my head and grabbed his laptop bag. I'll call you later. I watched him walk out the door. The moment it closed, the silence slammed into me like a wave. I gripped the edge of the counter so tightly my knuckles turned white. Everything looked normal on the outside, but now every corner of the house felt poisoned. I waited until I heard his car disappear down the street. Then I ran. I went straight into the office and yanked back the rug. My hands shook as I opened. He had been planning this while kissing me goodnight, laughing with me at dinners, holding my hand in public. He had been using me like a tool while rehearsing how to destroy me. My stomach twisted painfully. I forced myself to keep looking. At the bottom of the safe, a flash drive glinted. I plugged it into his laptop, praying he had left it unlocked. He had. Folders opened instantly. Project Phoenix. Identity phase. Exit plan. I clicked on the first video file and froze. Daniel sat in a conference room with a woman whose face I recognized instantly from the magazine article announcing an industry merger. Harper Lane. Brilliant. Beautiful. Ambitious. Ruthless. Her smile was sharp as a blade. Once her identity is legally unstable, she said, removing her becomes simple. I will step in as CEO after the board votes. Nobody questions a woman grieving the collapse of her unstable marriage. Daniel nodded, his expression cold. And her credibility? She is respected. Loved. People will support her. Harper laughed softly. Not after we frame her mental health crisis. One doctor, one signature, one documented emotional breakdown. The world will believe anything if you control the evidence. I covered my mouth to stop myself from screaming. They had planned to paint me as unstable. To discredit me publicly. To erase me quietly. I shut the laptop, tears burning behind my eyes. I needed help. Real help. Someone who could fight this war with me. Someone who understood the law, the strategy, the darkness people hid behind polished smiles. There was only one person I trusted, Alex Morgan, my closest friend from college, now a respected attorney. My fingers shook dialing his number. He answered on the second ring. Julia? Everything all right? No, I whispered. Everything is wrong. He heard the tremor in my voice. Where are you? At home, I said. But I cannot stay. They are planning something I do not fully understand, but it is big. It is dangerous. Who is? Daniel. And a woman named Harper. There was a long silence on the line. Pack a bag, Alex said. Leave the house right now. Do not wait. Do not confront them. Do not say a word. Take only what you need and go somewhere safe. I will meet you in 1 hour. Alex, I am scared. You have every right to be. But listen to me. You are not alone. We are going to take them down. I hung up and moved fast. I shoved clothes into a suitcase, grabbed my passport, my sketchbooks, my grandmother's necklace, and the flash drive. Before I left, I walked through every room slowly, absorbing what I once believed was home. The framed wedding photo on the wall. The dining table where we celebrated milestones. The sofa where we planned our future children. All of it meant nothing now. I reached the front door and wrapped my hand around the doorknob. Then I froze. A text appeared on my phone. From Daniel. Love you. See you tonight. My skin crawled. He had no idea I knew. Good. I walked outside, locked the door behind me, and stepped into the cold morning air. Every step away from that house felt like releasing chains I did not know were holding me. As I drove away, I said out loud. I will not let you erase me. I am coming for everything you tried to take. My voice did not shake anymore. It was steel. This was no longer fear. This was war. And I was ready to fight. Alex met me at a quiet corner cafe on the far side of the city, a place where no one would think to look for me. The warmth of the room hit me the moment I walked through the door, but my body was still shaking, my pulse racing with adrenaline and fear. Alex stood immediately when he saw me, his expression shifting from worry to determination. You look like you have not slept in days, he said softly, pulling me into a hug. I found something, I whispered. Something terrible. We sat in the far booth, away from the windows. I slid the flash drive across the table. His jaw tightened when he read the label, Project Phoenix. I will need to review everything on this, he said. But first, tell me everything you overheard last night. So I did. Every word. Every detail. Every moment of terror as I listened to Daniel planning to erase my identity. Alex listened without interrupting, but his eyes darkened with every sentence. When I finished, he exhaled slowly. Julia, this is more than divorce. This is corporate theft, fraud, conspiracy, and criminal identity destruction. If we play this right, Daniel and Harper will not just lose. They will go to prison. My breath caught. Prison. The word felt unreal, like something that belonged to a world far away from mine. I do not want revenge, I whispered, though my voice trembled with anger. I just want my life back. Alex leaned forward, lowering his voice. You will get more than that. But we need to be strategic. If they think you are scared and alone, they will make mistakes. We need them to believe they still control the board. That they are winning. I stared at him. You want me to pretend to break? He nodded once. Yes. Let them feel secure. Let them relax. When predators believe their prey has stopped fighting, they get sloppy. That is when we strike. My mind raced. What do I do now? Step 1, disappear. Do not call anyone you both know. Do not post anything. Stay completely silent. If they think you ran away emotionally, they will speed up their timeline. And step 2. Gather proof beyond what you already have. We need witnesses, financial records, and evidence of Harper's involvement. A sudden buzzing sound cut through the conversation. My phone vibrated violently on the table. I turned it over. 26 missed calls. 15 from Daniel. 11 from unknown numbers. A new message appeared. Julia, where are you? Please, I'm worried. Call me. That was followed seconds later by another. If you walk away now, there is no fixing this. Come home. We can talk. And then. Do not make this harder than it needs to be. The tone changed so fast it made my blood run cold. Alex looked at the screen and shook his head. He is panicking. He knows he has lost control. Almost immediately, my phone lit up again. This time with a FaceTime request. Harper Lane is calling. My breath caught. Alex pressed his hand over the phone. Do not answer. They must believe you are broken and confused. When people think they are dealing with someone weak, they reveal more than they should. I nodded. We left the cafe through the back exit and drove to Alex's apartment downtown, a secured building with cameras and protective entry. The moment we stepped inside, my phone rang again. I silenced it, ignoring the pounding in my chest. Alex opened his laptop and inserted the flash drive. The files loaded, and video evidence began to play, Daniel and Harper discussing strategies for transferring shares, creating a staged narrative of mental instability, and coaching potential witnesses. The final video was the worst. Harper leaned closer to the camera with a smirk. She will break soon. Once the doctor signs the report, nobody will listen to her. Emotional collapse is such a convenient explanation. Women are always expected to fall apart eventually. I felt sick. That is enough, Alex said sharply, slamming the laptop shut. We have more than we need. Now we set the trap. How? He looked at me, eyes blazing with certainty. We leak just enough information back to Daniel to make him believe you are willing to settle quietly. He will rush to finalize everything before you change your mind. And when he moves the stolen assets again, we will have law enforcement watching. He will incriminate himself. My heart pounded. Will you be with me when we confront him? You will not be alone, he said with a reassuring smile. I already called someone who can help. Someone who knows how to deal with men like Daniel. As if on cue, a knock sounded at the apartment door. Alex opened it, and a silver-haired woman in a sharp charcoal suit stepped inside. Her presence filled the room like unshakable authority. Julia, she said warmly. I am Evelyn Brooks, retired judge. I will be working with Alex on your case. My breath caught. A retired judge. She shook my hand firmly. You are stronger than you think. And you are going to win. But first, we need Daniel to make the next move. And he will. Men like him always believe they are untouchable. Let him think you are defeated. Let him come to you. Just then, my phone lit up once more with a new message from Daniel. We need to talk. I am coming to find you. I looked up at Alex. He is coming. Alex and Evelyn exchanged a calm, knowing smile. Good, Evelyn said. Then everything is going exactly as planned. Something inside me hardened. My fear evaporated, replaced by icy determination. For the first time, I felt like I was not running anymore. I was hunting. And the real battle was about to begin. 3 days later, I walked into the courthouse wearing the same necklace my grandmother gave me when I turned 18. She once told me it was a symbol of strength. I had never understood what she meant until now. Alex walked beside me. Evelyn Brooks followed close behind, calm and composed like a general entering a battlefield she had already studied from every angle. The courtroom was full. Reporters, board members from our company, employees, attorneys, and strangers waiting for the spectacle they sensed was coming. Daniel and Harper sat at the defense table, perfectly dressed, wearing expressions carefully sculpted to look concerned and wounded. Daniel's eyes locked on mine. He smiled gently. As if he still believed he owned me. His attorney stood and began speaking immediately. Your Honor, our client has suffered greatly as his wife has recently become emotionally unstable. She abandoned her home without explanation and has displayed concerning behavioral patterns. We strongly request an emergency protective order to grant my client full control of marital assets to ensure stability and safety. A carefully rehearsed lie. A calculated performance. A show meant to bury me. The judge turned to us. Mr. Morgan, Ms. Brooks, you may respond. Evelyn rose, her voice steady as steel. Yes, Your Honor. We do not dispute that there has been instability. But the instability belongs entirely on the other side of this table. She held up a folder. We have evidence proving fraud, conspiracy, identity theft, illegal financial transfers, corporate takeover attempts, and psychological coercion. The courtroom shifted. People leaned forward. Daniel's face twitched, just once. Evelyn continued. We will begin with recorded video evidence. Alex pressed play. Daniel's voice filled the courtroom. Once her identity is legally unstable, removing her becomes simple. One doctor's signature, one staged breakdown, and nobody will believe a word she says. Harper's voice followed, cold and clear. She will sign anything once she feels cornered. Women like her always collapse eventually. A gasp rippled across the room. Daniel's attorney jumped to his feet. This is taken out of context. That is not what they meant. Evelyn did not even flinch. We also have documents showing forged signatures, unauthorized withdrawals, and property transfer agreements that were intended to steal everything my client built. Alex stepped forward and placed file after file in front of the judge. Bank statements. Transfer logs. Forged divorce petition. Medical evaluation request for institutionalization. Then came the final piece. The flash drive logs tracking offshore accounts under Daniel and Harper's names. The judge studied the evidence carefully, his face darkening. Daniel slammed his hand on the table. She is lying. She is insane. She planned this to destroy me. I stood slowly, my voice calm. No, Daniel. You destroyed yourself. The courtroom went silent. I turned fully to face him. For years, I believed you were the love of my life. I trusted you with everything I had. But you looked at my loyalty and saw weakness. You looked at my heart and saw opportunity. You tried to erase me because you thought I was too gentle to fight. I leaned closer. You made the worst mistake of your life. Harper jumped to her feet, shouting. She knew we were recording. She set us up. Evelyn smiled faintly. Actually, Ms. Lane, you set yourselves up. Greed has a very loud voice. It always leaves a trail. The judge raised his gavel. I have heard enough. He turned to Daniel and Harper. In light of overwhelming evidence, I hereby place both of you under immediate criminal investigation for fraud, identity theft, corporate conspiracy, and attempted unlawful guardianship. Your access to all financial assets is frozen. You are prohibited from contacting Mrs. Monroe directly or indirectly. Harper screamed as officers took her by the arms. Daniel's face collapsed from arrogance to terror. The handcuffs clicked. "You will regret this," he yelled. I shook my head slowly. "No, Daniel. I will finally sleep." The officers dragged them out as the courtroom erupted in whispers. Alex placed a hand on my shoulder. "You did it." I felt the weight of the last weeks lift slowly from my chest, like chains falling away link by link. When I stepped outside, the air felt different. Lighter. Warmer. Reporters called my name, cameras flashed, microphones reached toward me. I ignored all of it and walked down the courthouse steps, letting the sunlight hit my face. I was not broken anymore. I was reborn. Alex walked beside me and asked quietly, "What will you do now?" I smiled, breathing deeply. "I will rebuild my life. On my own terms. And this time, nobody will take it from me." He nodded with respect. "And after that?" I looked at the sky, feeling strength settle into my bones. "After that, I will help others who cannot fight alone." Because my story was not just survival. It was transformation. And it was only the beginning. Betrayal does not destroy you. It reveals who you really are. If someone tries to silence you, stand louder. If someone tries to erase you, rewrite your story stronger than ever. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to TwistRoom for more emotional true-style stories with shocking twists and powerful endings. And remember, the truth always wins, sooner or later.